Welcome to Across the Chain. We've got an update for you on Twitter and Elon Musk. Their battle has begun, and Twitter landed a haymaker in round one. Earlier this month, the Tesla and SpaceX CEO said he was calling off the deal because of concerns of how many Twitter accounts were fake or spam. Last week, Twitter sued Musk to force him to go through with the purchase, accusing him of using the issue of automated bot accounts as a pretext to get out of the deal that was no longer good for him financially. Twitter and Musk began court proceedings today, and the judge made her first ruling on the trial date. Twitter asked for a trial date as early as September, and Musk's team asked for April of 2023. The judge ruled mostly in favor of Twitter, with a trial date that is scheduled to face off in October. The trial is set to last 5 days and is expected to get quite heated over forcing the billionaire to purchase the social media company for $44 billion. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's go over some of the key points that we should discuss and really get into it. So first off, Elon agrees to buy Twitter for $44 billion. Of which, and we'll get into this a little bit later, he's really only come up with about 33 billion right now. So Elon was so convinced that he was going to buy Twitter that he signed an agreement that he was going to pay a $1 billion fee if he didn't go through with it. This is how convinced he was. And mind you, this was before this huge crypto and stock market correction and the inflation reports coming out and the points being added by the Fed. All of this stuff, this is before this, or like right on the cusp of it actually happening. So in this very public merger agreement, Elon makes no mention of bots. This is a really important point because this is his key thing. He's basically saying there are so many bots in Twitter that their valuation is off, and therefore they lied about it and it was a scam or whatever. And so now he doesn't want to purchase it. Although in this deal, he made no contingencies, right? This very public agreement that he signed for mergers and acquisitions made no contingencies for bots. None at all. You didn't even really care about it. Not only that, he's actually been on record in saying that he wants to fix that problem. So he's actually already aware that Twitter has a bot problem. And mind you, Twitter doesn't care that they have a bot problem. That goes towards their valuation as how many users they have, like monthly active users that they're earning revenue off of. They're not incentivized to say that they have X amount of bots, even though they have said that it's about 5%. That was just like a study of a few accounts. This wasn't a very in-depth report, and Musk knew that. So this is going to be a really hard thing for Musk to come off and say that they intentionally knew that like 25% or 30% of the company was bots and their valuation is, massively off. Again, this isn't up for Twitter to verify either, right? I was watching someone else, give this same sort of news story, and they used a great analogy with homes. When a home is being sold, it's not the seller's job to verify, the home inspection. That's not their job. They're the seller. That's the buyer's job, right? So this was Musk's job to do this, to verify the bots before signing this deal, right? But again, we know through public statements, he was already very aware that they had a bot problem. So this was his responsibility to fact check the whole bots issue. So the big thing with Twitter, though, and with Elon, is that he has to prove that they lied, which is going to be a huge uphill battle. Also, what does that do for Twitter's valuation? Not to mention that this is like Twitter is Musk. This is his microphone. Okay, so anything he does to Twitter that could bring down the company in any regard, that's going to have a major impact. So, and I don't want to get too much into theoreticals or conspiracies, but they're fun to talk about, so we might mention a couple of them. The big issue that I see for Elon is precedent, right? So this is all taking place in Delaware. Delaware is notorious for enforcing corporate contracts. This is nearly impossible to get a judge to switch precedent. If a precedent has been set, which it has been set, and we're going to go over it right now, it's nearly impossible to get them to overturn that precedent. because now that sets an entirely new precedent, overturning precedents, and then nobody's going to want to incorporate in Delaware, okay, which is where the majority of corporations are incorporated because they have a precedent of enforcing contracts, right? So it's going to be nearly impossible. Here's the main precedent that we're going to call out here, and this is Tyson Foods. This is in the 90s. Tyson Foods agrees to purchase IBP Foods, and they outbid another company, Smith's Foods or something like that. And so, they outbid the competitor, and then the dot-com bubble starts crashing, right? That bursts. And so Tyson bails. It's not financially good for them anymore, so they bail. They go to court in Delaware, and the judge enforces the deal. So this brings up some other questions that we need to ask, like what happens to Elon if he's forced to pay? Potentially might have to sell Tesla. Okay, so he needs 44 billion. He's secured 33 billion, so he needs 11 billion left, right? If I do the math correctly, that's 11 billion. But we're in a really bad financial situation right now, right? So some of these people who, of that 33 billion, they may fall out. Some of that financing may fall out. He might find himself in a situation where he has to come up with 15 to 20 billion dollars. This would add most likely significant selling pressure to Tesla. But what else does he own? What else is out there? We know that he owns Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. We don't know how much. We know that he purchased 1.5 billion of Bitcoin. Is he going to sell that off? I mean, I think he gave that to Tesla. But is that could that be sold off? How much does he own of Ethereum? How much does he own of Dogecoin? Right? Like, this guy is all about Dogecoin. It's, a lot of people have been speculating that he's the number one holder, which is like 28%. Everything he does in tweets about this Dogecoin gets it to go up or down, right? So he's been a supporter of it from its beginning, and I think it is quite likely. Again, I don't know. There's no proof, but I think it's reasonable to assume that he is the largest Dogecoin holder. So now the question becomes: what is he willing to get rid of first? Does he want to sell billions of dollars? If he loses, does he want to sell billions of dollars of Tesla, or billions of dollars of Dogecoin or Bitcoin? What does that do for cryptocurrency? Now we look at Twitter. What happens if he actually proves that Twitter is a scam? I mean, this could be catastrophic. I don't know. It's like hard to even speculate what could possibly happen if he were to really prove that Twitter was an absolute scam. Not to mention that he owns like $9 billion or something ridiculous of Twitter. I don't know the exact figures. I think it's 3 billion. So I think I 3x'd it right there. But, it's he could really make the stock dive, especially if he comes out and says that and proves that Twitter is an absolute scam. What does that do for all the investors in Twitter? Except for now, this sets him up, going into more conspiracies. Now this sets him up to start his own competitor of Twitter, right? He destroys Twitter, brings them to this whole bullshit, destroys them, brings down their stock, investors start fleeing. He launches his own social media platform, which is like identical to Twitter. So now we are in a whole other can of worms and legal issues and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's interesting. It's for sure going to be captivating a lot of news stories and drawing a lot of that attention. So we'll for sure be covering it. If you have any questions, comments, you want to engage, you've got some thoughts on this, join our Discord, start that conversation, comment. If you like crypto news and you like relevant off-chain news, like what's going on here, because what happens here very much does affect the crypto market. So I want to draw that correlation there. Like, subscribe, and let's get involved and let's talk about this. All right. Have a good day.